Hi everyone, this is audapostrophe. Let's continue our game of Buried Stars on Nintendo Switch. Okay, I think I need this one. Okay, Gijik's return. I really wonder what he's up to. What did he say to you?
그게
Oh, that's the scholarship issue, the one mentioned by SU. He brought that up again.
어?
What can you do with that?
결국
He'll agree on Phater, as if that were true. That's ridiculous. I didn't know what to say.
그건
That's simply agreeing with SU. Yu shook his head bitterly. I should have just told him that I would drop out.
그런
You know, that's not easy. Each of us had a reason to join B-Stars.
솔직히
I came to B-Stars because I was curious. Before I gave up my music, I wanted to stand before the crowd without telling them about my dad and hear what they had to say about me.
저기
So it was like a blind test. But the result was far too good.
몰랐어.
I didn't know I would get this far. Giyuk scratched his chin.
그리고
When I first joined the show, I didn't think they would mention my family.
그랬지.
There were lots of viral news articles. At first, I thought you were eager to talk about your father.
그럴 거야.
I don't blame you. Even back then, I was thinking about dropping out of the audition. He once thought of quitting music. He decided to enter the audition show regarding it as a test. He thought of dropping out of the show when the media reported on his father. But I didn't. And ended up being stuck in here. Haesung's threat. According to Giyuk, Haesung talked about his illegal receipt of a scholarship and his father's death. He threatened to disclose them if he refused to quit the audition.
무리야.
They aren't thinking straight.
그럴지도.
Of course, he's depressed to remain on the show, or he's desperate to remain on the show.
그런 거면
It doesn't matter what they say out there. I just hope he doesn't fall too deeply. If he gets angry and starts to write comments, it's really going to be over for him. He would know what to do with Phater. While speaking, Juyun thought about the earlier provocations made by Hyesung. He said he won't go down by himself, but that he's ready for anything.
글쎄.
Maybe he wouldn't.
솔직히
Actually, I agree.
이거면
If this continues, it'd be a matter of time. Gi-hook nodded and stared at the other side of the corridor. No sound came from the locked door. I wonder when it's going to happen. I have no idea.
뭐랄까.
Hyesung didn't say anything special,
그랬었는데
although he pretended to know something important. He always followed Seung-young around, but he was just one of the contestants. He didn't even get much information.
그래서
So what did you say to him?
아
I said the ranking after the collapse doesn't mean anything. That we should get back to the stage and wait for the rescue team. He surely wouldn't listen to that. Yeah, you know the result. Failed to persuade. He tried to persuade Hyesung to give up and go back to the stage with him to wait for the rescue. He argued that ranking after the collapse wouldn't count, but didn't succeed. Well, when I went in, I was wondering what he would say to me. I didn't know he would be repeating what S. Young said. Weren't you upset?
저기
Weren't you angry with him for repeating that Well, what S. Seeding said?
그랬지.
I was surprised at first, as you said. But what I felt next was a sense of pity. Gi-hook looked down at his feet. His eyes wandered for a moment. It's like he wanted to believe it, thinking it would actually work.
솔직히
I'm embarrassed to say this, but the scholarship issue won't give me much damage. The fact that I feel ashamed of that incident is another story.
그거야.
He's bluffing. Do you think he'll keep doing that to everyone else? Gi-hook spoke again after a brief silence. He also talked about my late father. About his accident? It was around the time of a fundraiser. He had a heart attack while driving. The money and honor meant nothing before the accident. His father died of cardiac arrest several years ago while driving a car. It was the sudden death of a superstar artist who had attained fame and fortune. So what can Hye-sung add to that story?
그건
He asked me if that was really an accident. He was insinuating that I might have had something to do with his death. That's more shocking than the scholarship issue. I feel the opposite. He went too far in my father's death.
대체
It's like he's writing a fiction.
괜찮아.
It's because he didn't know anything about it. I was okay with it. But if he continues to do that, other people might take it differently. Hye-sung didn't seem to know any significant secrets about the others. What Hye-sung knew wasn't a threat.
그런데
Something bothered me while I was talking to him.
어?
Like what?
그게
He kept checking Phater even when he was talking to me.
그거야.
That's nothing new. He looked more restless. He said it was almost time. Time? What time? The time S. Yeung mentioned.
Huh.
Oh, about the one in last place being... Gi-hook quietly nodded. He continued with one hand under his chin.
뭐랄까.
He regarded all of S. Yeung's comments as nonsense, but he wasn't free from them. I wish he'd be more honest with us.
도윤아.
But I thought he was being frank with you, Diyun. Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't say he treated me different. I think he told me and himself that he treated me differently.
그럴까?
I'm not sure if he was being more honest with me than with others.
어?
Really? That means I'm closer to you.
어?
Is that important right now?
그게
Hye-sung was saying things to you.
아닌 것 같아.
That doesn't mean he was being honest with me.
그건
I guess you were right about that.
그럼
Then can I be more honest this time?
응?
About what? Feeling awkward, Gi-hook fiddled with his hair. About why I wasn't shaken when he talked about my father's accident. I am, to be honest. I would have thought of it as an insult towards your father. And I didn't want to pry on it.
아,
That sounds like you. Gi-hook paused momentarily. He seemed to ponder on whether to tell Ji-yoon or not.
솔직히
To be honest, my uncle's family, myself included, don't know much about my father.
그게
What do you mean?
결국
He cut ties with the family as soon as he became an adult. The family was strictly against the music, and they didn't allow any chokers in the family. My father severed ties with them. We all know about his days of anonymity.
그렇지.
It wasn't much different even back then. Tough business, huh?
그러면
But why didn't you know much about him?
그건
He always wanted to live a free life. Free from everything, including all of his family. I wanted a life free from anything cumbersome. Or he wanted a life free from anything cumbersome, so nothing would hold him back.
어쩌면
Maybe he was never an adult throughout his entire life. Are you saying his musical achievement had nothing to do with his personality?
어?
Do I sound negative? Take half of what I said as a compliment.
응?
Understand it as a typical characteristic of artistic people.
그랬지.
That's how I was able to accept him for who he was. Whatever he found cumbersome, he treated as if he didn't see it.
나도
I was clearly something cumbersome to him. His father violently severed relations with his wealthy family and rose to stardom. He wanted to live a free life and thought of his family as a burden.
그러니까
So I have no choice but to say I don't know much about him. Even if someone speaks nonsense about his life or death, well, to me, it feels like talking about a stranger. Hye-sung began to grow anxious as the time S. Yeung predicted for whatever was in last place drew near. Okay, yeah, let's go. Well, let's save. Then let's go. The sanity worsened, but not a lot. After finishing his story, the gloomy feeling still lingered in the air.
얘기 빙빙 돌기만 한 거야.
이러면 누구라도 마찬가지겠어.
다급하게 구는 건 혜성이 쪽이니까.
He continued to act out of desperation. They must think of something. Maybe they should force him out at any cost.
형, 내 얘기 좀 들어봐. 혜성이 그만 끌고라도 나오자.
Yesung began to grow anxious as the time SCing predicted wherever was a place through near. He's bluffing anyway, so let's just pull him out. Yeah.
한다던 얘기 결국 블러핑일 뿐이었어. 사람들은 불안해하고 복도는 점점 더 위험해져.
Depicts stared at Jiyun for a moment.
블러핑. 어떻게든 해야 하는 건 사실이야.
분장실에 간 사람들도 소식 없고 가봐야겠어.
좋아. 가자.
Use the forest driven to a corner. Hyesung is just repeating what SCing has already said. He may as well be pulled out before it gets too dangerous. Jiyun walked towards where Jiyun was.
누나, 아무래도 혜성이
Jiyun was not there with them.
없어? 언제?
우리 얘기하는 사이였나 봐.
They moved hurriedly. They frantically looked around, but Jiyun wasn't there.
안에 가볼게. 넌 전화 좀 해봐.
잠깐만. 혼자 가지 마.
Jiyun stopped Gi-hyuk while he was making the call.
복도 쪽으로 간 건가?
심장 안 터져.
While they were trying to work the phone, Phater opened. The next contestant is Jiyun. Jiyun, why don't you just give up? You saw what happened to Hyesung. You know how it will end.
미친 소리 짓거리지 마.
Jiyun gritted his teeth and attempted to make the call again.
둘이 뭐해?
누나, 어디 갔었던 거예요?
미안해.
깜짝 놀랐다고요.
과오비 왔어. 이번엔 정말 세게 와서
그래도 갑자기 사라지시면
말할 새도 없었어. 무사했으면 됐지. 놓치고 있던 넌 뭐했냐?
잠깐. 혜성이는?
Ina looked worried.
그게 문제가 있었어.
문제?
어떤?
The two asked blankly.
서혜성, 저게 없어.
The sweat running down Jiyun's back turned cold.
전화는 해봤어?
화딱지 나서 갔는데 그럴 정신이 어딨냐.
Jiyun shook her head after failing to make the call.
신호는 가. 안 받을 뿐이지.
같이 가봐요. 데려올 생각이었어요. 끌고라도 나와야겠어요.
간 사람들이 못 봤다면 어디 있는 거지?
복도 쪽에 없을 수가 없어. 갈 수 있는데 정해져 있다고. 분장실 가면서 복도 확인하고 없으면 스텝 복도, 화장실까지 보면 돼.
뭐 좋아. 찝찝해서 나왔지만 다시 봐야겠어.
이나 씨,
그래, 강제로라도 데려오는 거야.
바로 가죠.
Yihuk also took a step forward after locking eyes with Dune.
출연자에 문제 생기면 저도 곤란하긴 해요.
좋아, 이동하죠.
The sound of footsteps echoed around the dark corridor.
여긴 확실히 없어.
분장실 다시 가볼게. 어딜 간 건지.
저도 같이 가요.
난 스텝 복도를 볼게.
저랑 가요. 도윤이 넌?
After scanning the corridor, Duyun's eyes were fixed on something.
화장실을 볼게.
혼자?
규혁아, 그럼 넌 도윤이랑.
아니야, 형은 누나랑 다녀.
Yihuk's gaze wandered in between Juyung and Duyun.
알겠어. 조심해.
They scattered to head towards their assigned area.
혜성아, 있어?
Duyun waited, but no one answered. He slowly entered the restroom. What am I looking at?
혜성아, 정신 차려!
Duyun hurriedly lifted Hyesung into his arms.
속물 안 쉬어.
He felt something sticky on his hand. Blood. His hand was soaked with blood. Oh, there goes my sanity. Duyun's legs gave way, and Hyesung dropped face down on the floor. Duyun came running. She moved her lips to scream, but no sound came out of her mouth.
혜성아, 어떻게 된 거야?
뭐예요? 설마?
Yihuk rushed in and held Hyesung's wrist.
맥박 뛰어? 빨리 말해봐. 뭔가 잡히냐고.
Yihuk slowly shook his head.
죽었다고?
Duyun stared at Ina vacantly.
야, 지금 페이터에 글이.
Hyesung eliminated. You won't be able to see Hyesung ever from now on. Next target is Duyun. How much time should I allow him?
정말인 거야? 최하위는 죽는다.
Some time had passed in the state of despondency. Some checked on Hyesung's body while some just stared at the wall absent-mindedly. Some read posts on Phater and some just muttered to themselves. Dune mindlessly updated his Phater timeline. 2 a.m. Desperation. Hyesung seemed to make every effort, but that wasn't enough. He has been killed. Don't be all smiley. Duyun, you are next. Hyesung is muted. Hyesung went silent. It's not like him. Anywho, why the others won't post any? Duyun uses the bot but doesn't post anything himself either. Y'all broke your fingers or what? I'm so excited to see what will happen in an hour. Lol, I actually like this more than the real show, hee. Hissing even got some attention from blackmailing, but Duyun didn't get any. Lamau, I'd kill myself if I were him. Hey, easy on him. He's busy thinking about how to walk away this time. He pretends he's the troubleshooter, but backs off at critical moments. That's what he does. Don't even start if you're going to walk away. Ranking competition suddenly caught on fire. How can Duyun escape this crisis? At first, I felt fear. And gradually another feeling came. It was a rage.
이게 장난으로 보여?
His rage began to boil up as soon as he recognized it. The parched lip cracked, soon smeared with blood. Duyun discovered he was about to upload a post on Phater. His fingertips trembled. You acted so selfishly. You deserve it. You're not hurt? You're safe now? If you're okay, please leave a comment. His post was now up on the timeline. The show is over. People are waiting for being rescued under the debris. This looks just amusing for you? He's right. We can say we love or hate a certain contestant, but in this situation they are dying now. That's too much. You are safe and sound. So Ina's okay? Ina's okay? Ina's okay? All are quiet. Why is he alone making a fuss? Lol felt guilty or scared? I'm sure something happened there. Lol. S-Young is running wild, so if you want to blame someone, do so on S-Young. Leave others alone. Trying to act cool is a kind of illness. That makes me pissed off. I didn't instigate S-Young and cheer for someone's death. Why do I hear such a bullshit? The post was shared all over, spreading at the speed of light. The public reaction to his post was enormous. Say something more? It's not auto-posted, right? Is he free enough to check Phater? He saw all comments but stayed silent, which makes me mad. Duyun, you're scared a lot. I said you confess your sins to raise your ranking, not get unnecessary attention. You're always acting like that. You think you are the best in the world. I had much difficulty producing you. He posted something again. Just go away. So, hissing's okay? Hissing's okay? Hissing is okay? Well, please. Post. I don't want to know about you. Just tell me what happened to Hissing. What happened to Hissing? Tell me now. He answered easy questions only and then disappeared. Is he seeing all the comments now? Considering how he posted comments so far, he must be monitoring them regularly. Hiding in this situation, great personality. A betrayer won't be changed easily, lol. He's way off the mark. The broadcasting station doesn't pay him for nothing. It's because his fans contributed to higher ratings, but he seems to think otherwise. So he seems to antagonize his own fans. Let's see how far you can go. S-Young created a new account. Who is it? Duyun and Husing lied so much to get attention. I have no clue. What will happen if the attacker is really there? Seeing him throwing a fit on Phater, I don't think the situation there is urgent. I understand Duyun is relaxing now, but other members should watch out for him. He can betray them anytime, lol. Stop biting Duyun now. He must be in tears. Look at the number of shares for Duyun's comment. He's now on the top of the real-time search ranking. He took advantage of Hissing to raise his ranking. Rage and shock penetrated through his heart. Duyun closed his bloodshot eyes. Duyun approached him. Her face was pale.
도윤아, 괜찮아?
아니요, 모르겠어요.
저랑 규혁이 형이 조금 조사해봤어요. 다른 분들은 그럴 만한 상태 아닌 것 같아서.
Seal carefully chose his words.
봤더니 어땠는데?
달랐어요. 서혜성은. 신피디님 때랑요. 뒤에서 한 방, 옆에서 한 방, 다 머리였어요. 이건 사고가 아니에요. 누군가한테 당한 거예요.
Duyun got goosebumps on his back.
S 승연이야?
그건 몰라요. 누가 이렇게 한 건지.
아닐 리가 없잖아. S 승연이 한 게 아니면
Everyone stared at Ji-yoon.
우리 중에 있다는 거야? 그럴 타이밍도 방법도 없는데 맞잖아.
Ji-yoon covered his face with both hands. He didn't even have time to collect his senses.
한도윤, 너 페이터에 글 썼어?
서혜성 얘기를 쓰셨어요?
아니, 다들 아무렇게나 떠들고 있어서.
사람 죽었는데 페이터 뜨닥거릴 정신이 있어 너?
The rest of the group turned on their watches with incredulous looks on their faces.
반응이 꽤 커.
여태까지 제대로 쓴 적 없었으니까.
지금 페이터 잡고 있을 상황은 아닌데요. 진짜 비상사태예요. 대체 어떻게 된 건지.
After looking at her watch for some time, Ina slowly raised her head.
S 승연, 그냥 찌질이가 아닌 거 아닐까?
아무렇게나 한 말이라고 생각하기엔 타이밍이 거의 발견과 동시에 글을 올렸어.
아까 우리 이 안을 다 뒤져봤잖아. 누가 들어오고 나갈 만한 길 같은 건 없었어.
그렇게 외부 유입을 배제해버리면 결국 우리만 남아요.
Everyone froze at Seal's remark.
아니, 적어도 그게 주영 씨나 이나 씨는 서혜성을 제압하기 힘들었을 거예요.
나나 규혁이 형, 너까지 셋이 용의자라도 된다는 뜻이야?
그런 뜻은 아니에요. 저 서혜성이랑 사이 안 좋은 건 다들 아시겠지만 제일 만만한 게 스텝이라고 해도 그게
지금 말하고 싶은 게 뭐야?
혹시라도 절 의심하진 마시라는 얘기예요. 진지하게.
I don't know, you're the most suspicious. You left after Ina, right after she went. Seal clenched onto the strap of his messenger bag.
분장실 오락가락하면서 빈 타임들 있었잖아. 스텝이라는 이유만으로 몰아갈 일은 없어.
그래요.
He stared at the rest of the group with his gloomy eyes.
어쨌든 페이터는 좀 자제해주세요. 지금 상황 흘러나가면 정말 엉망진창 돼버린다고요.
구조대에 연락해야겠지?
Ji-yoon averted her gaze from Hae-sung's body and changed the subject.
사상자가 나온 사실은 알려야지.
제가 연락해 볼게요.
Moreover, the phone wasn't working either. Ji-yoon took a step toward the corridor.
일단 복도로 나가자. 거기서 다시 해봐.
Gi-yook hung up the phone and turned around.
주변이 시끄러웠어. 사람이 몰렸나 봐.
구경 났나. 방해만 되는데.
구조대에선 뭐래?
별다른 말은 없었어. 일단 복도에서 무대로 빠져나와 있으래.
큰 도움은 안 되는 얘기네.
Ji-yoon blurted out quietly. Ina tapped the watch on her wrist.
여기 참 서혜성 얘기 많더라. S 승연이랑 싸우다 갑자기 글이 끊겼으니까. 누가 봐도 우리가 피해자 아니야? 대체 왜 계속 욕하고 비꼬는 거야?
바깥에선 여기 상황을 알 수가 없어서겠지.
Ji-yoon opened Phater after listening to them for some time. Someone has visited the scene. The accident site was cordoned off, and all fire trucks and ambulances of the city arrived here. What a scene. It's a miracle that people can escape the fallen building. But there is nothing I can help here. If I showed them S. Young's post, would they believe that someone inside died? I told the police here about S. Young's post, but they just ignored me. They said they are investigating the accident, so wait for the results. If nothing happened, that's fine, but if they got something to tell, why don't they? Any broadcasting vehicles are here too. And broadcasting vehicles are here too. They are talking with people from broadcasting stations.
뭐라고들 해요?
누가 폴리스 라인까지 와서 여기 상황을 물어봤나 봐.
나 참 뉴스나 기다릴 것이지 좀.
1 hour has passed since Hyosung wrote the comment. I guess there is a slight chance. He's posting comments on Phater, so his smartwatch seems to be working fine. Considering the rapid proliferation of S. Young's post, Hyosung should act by now, but he's remaining silent. What happened to Hyosung? Young isn't posting any comments since then. Considering that they take no action for the controversial vote, I guess they have no capacity to respond to it. They seem to postpone the announcement until the rescue operation ends, but they can't stop media reports. Soon one of the media will expose the truth.
난 더 못 보겠어.
지금 방금 뉴스 떴어요. 혜성이 얘기.
More casualties from the Buried Stars accident site. Breaking news. Do you see the news 10 minutes ago? Casualties? He really is dead. Even after the accident, they were trying to resume the show and popularity vote, leading to this disaster. That must be an accident, right? S. Young really killed him? Do you see what's going on around here right now? Diyun is next. His response is weaker than I thought. I guess he's still not realizing what's going to happen to him. Please show your support to Diyun. A lot of tips are coming in. Thank you. Swear at Diyun, not me, please. All seem so excited. This is not a TV show. What the heck are you doing? No one can do fact-checking now, so everyone seems to feel frustrated. Those who might know about the answer are just busy talking about themselves. Whew. S. Young's been blocked. Ha ha ha! Yes, Young's fans got so pissed off that they started ratting Lamau. If S. Young is the attacker, what's the point of blocking Phater? Blocking them doesn't mean they're going to disappear out of this world, you dimwits, lol. Hey, close Phater and get your bums out of there, lol. We need to investigate Diyun. Without Hyosung, all contestants will make it to the next round automatically. Diyun the betrayer may have conspired with S. Young. I didn't think that way. It's not possible, lol.
속보 기사야.
현장에서 뻗치기 하다 캤나 보네요. 기자가 구조대에서 새어나갔겠죠.
S 승연이 맞았다는 얘기도 있어.
진짜 여기 어딘가 있는 건가? 일단 무대로 가자. 여기서 당장 벗어나야겠어.
그래. 자, 우선 머리 조심하면서 이쪽으로.
여기 상태 더 나빠진 것 같지?
아직은 괜찮아. 또 어떻게 될진 몰라도.
주변을 잘 확인해. 뭔가 떨어질 수도 있으니까.
안에 터지면 이제 괜찮겠지? 그래, 별일 없을 거야.
Diyun answered her own question while wrapping her arms around herself. A depressing mood lingered. Diyun lowered his head and tried not to think about anything. The stage had collapsed. They had found Young dead. The popularity voting was still running despite this mess. S. Young appeared out of nowhere, insulting the group and announcing the murder of the last place contestant. Hyosung began to threaten other contenders to drop out. Then he was found dead. S. Young's threat to murder whoever was in last place. Hyosung was clearly attacked by someone. Did it matter? Diyun couldn't even keep his own sanity. He had no desire to delve into thoughts or to solve anything anymore.
대체 왜 이런 일이 일어난 거야?
The only thing he could do is give up all and just wait the time to pass. Wait. The only thing he could do is give up all and just wait the time to pass. He just needed to endure. It would be over once the rescue team arrived. Then this nightmare would be over. Dune grasped the watch with his right hand.
아까 상황은 봐서 뭐해? 볼 필요 없어. 지금은 볼 필요 전혀 없어.
Some time had passed, whether it was a few minutes or a few hours, he wasn't sure. Dune squinted and raised his head. He turned around to see who was touching him.
한도윤,
왜?
얘기 돌아가는 게 좀 이상해.
어떤 얘기?
이거 봐봐.
I guess all of these were manipulated by WBS. Hyesung and Dune are ranked first in turn on the real-time search ranking, and people those weren't interested in B-stars before now are looking up to who they are. If news reports are wrong and all of them are found alive, that would go viral. Hyesung said that Juyung, Ina, Gyuyuk, Dune, and one floor director are waiting to be rescued. Who is this floor director guy? Seeing all of these situations, I'm so relieved Masquerade failed to make it to the finals. No one can enter the fallen building. If S-Yung is real, it must be one of the people trapped there. Unless they are reporters or staff members. Anyone who have visited here would know that getting into the fallen building is out of the question. They thoroughly checked that. All of the audience signed up in advance to watch the show, and the audience list is already checked. The floor director, the guy with a grim look. I usually laugh off reports that broadcaster caused a scandal intentionally to raise ratings, but if the producer is Seung-Yoon Shin, I can't laugh at all. I wouldn't put it past her. What's the use of prying on the floor director's personal information? I can't understand. I heard the floor director trapped in the collapse site really hated Hyesung. There's even a conspiracy theory that this guy schemed everything. S-Yoon knows so much about the contestants. If what happened to Hyesung wasn't an accident, he could have been attacked by one of the survivors, right? The floor director looks suspicious. Looks like a betrayer, just like Dune. He must be the dude who hushed us when we were cheering for Gyuyuk last time we went to the studio. But he didn't say anything when Ina was performing on the stage, so other fans were complaining that the staff are favoring certain contestants. Seal? Ina's performance blew his mind. After she stepped down from the stage, he kept following her like a little pet. Dune raised his head. Seal was nervously fiddling with the strap on his messenger bag.
왜 세일이가 타깃이 됐어?
사망자 발표하고 생존자 명단이랑 사진 다시 나갔는데 문제는 그게 아니야.
I just saw something creepy. Is that guy the floor director? Something scary appeared suddenly. What is that?
더 있어.
Damn. Here it is too.
팬들이 찍어서 갖고 있던 사진들이래.
그런데 왜 세일이가 계속 알고 있었어?
당연히 몰랐으니까 말하지.
I'm sure it is that floor director. Ina lowered her watch.
내 생각 말해봐.
어떻게 생각하는데?
아무래도 찾은 것 같다. 내 스토커 편지 보내던 놈.
Severe saying, well, yeah, I can't do anything about it. I have nothing that we've said so far that raised it. Ina walked towards Seal.
이나 씨,
너 뭐야?
네? 제가 뭐요?
너지?
네? 저 아니에요. 제가 어떻게 서혜성을...
그거 말고 내 스토커!
3:30 a.m. Collapse. Seal's face turned pale. Seal gulped and took a step back.
갑자기 그게 왜 나와요? 이 마당에 스토커라뇨.
그럼 이거 뭐야? 보고 얘기해.
Yuna thrust her watch before Seal's face.
이게 뭐지?
뭐냐고? 너잖아!
저 사진 구석에 같이 걸렸을 뿐이잖아요. 이게 스토커라는 증거가 된다고 생각하세요? 딴 거 뭐 다른 증거 있어요?
왜들 그래? 무슨 일이야?
잠깐 떨어져서 얘기해.
세일이 얘기도 한번 들어보자.
들었잖아! 딴 증거 있냐고 뻗대는 거!
Deegan took a step back at the sharp retort. He was about to lose his sanity.
도윤아, 저러다 크게 싸움 나겠어. 일단 진정시켜야.
어쩔 수 없어요. 벌써 이렇게 되어버린 걸.
저건 지나가던 사람들이 막 찍은 사진이야. 한두 장도 아니고 저렇게 많이 나온 건 이상해.
도현이 형이라도 뭐라고 말 좀!
Deegan squinted and looked away. They've lost people. Everything, including the conversation, was important. But this could be dealt with later after they were rescued. Getting out of here as fast as possible, that was the only thing occupying Deegan's mind.
아니다. 노래 그만하고! 까봐. 네 가방.
싫어요. 제가 왜요?
떳떳하지? 통 크게 한 번 까고 넘어가면 돼.
Seal clenched his bag.
소지품 검사할 때 서혜성이 굳이 가방 얘기를 했었지. 생각해보니까 그때 실드 칠 게 아니었어. 혹시 알아? 서혜성 가방 얘기 꺼내서 저렇게 된 건지.
The atmosphere grew somber at the mention of Hyusun.
세일아, 가방 보여줘. 혜성이 말까지 나왔어. 확인만 한번 해보자.
형까지 그러실 줄 진짜 몰랐네요. 딴 분들도 다 마찬가지 생각이에요? 어떻게든 내 가방을 까봐야겠다고?
Nobody dared to answer. His eyes glared with hostility.
개판이네. 그렇게 따까리 짓을 해도 이딴 꼴을 보네요.
그러게 되게 슬프다, 그치? 근데 알아? 자초한 거야! 내놔 가방!
안 된다고 했잖아요.
야, 위험해!
놔봐! 말을 안 듣잖아!
Just then, the bag flew open. Some good pictures of her. All eyes were on the contents that spilled out of Seal's messenger bag. It was clearly a tablet PC on the floor.
너 수첩 말고 딴 건 없다면서!
Yuna's angry shouts suddenly stopped.
사진?
Seal hastily put his belongings back into his bag.
뭐가 아니야! 너지! 잠깐만! 좀 멈춰! 계속 이러면 위험해! 지금 숨을 못 쉬겠어.
Ji-young groaned, clutching at her chest. Gi-hook hurriedly moved Ji-young out of the way.
거기에 다 걸렸어!
아니라고!
Then Seal pushed Ino away. Seal was forced slightly backward after pushing Ino away. but he was at the edge of the stage. Seal lost his balance and fell straight backward. The groans quickly subsided. His hand selflessly dropped to the floor. Dion and Gyuk stood before the body with vacant looks on their faces. Their quivering eyes were wandering between Seal and the piece of steel protruding from his chest.
죽었어. 그럴 리가. 세이라, 들려? 정신 차려봐.
Too late. Seal lay there, his eyes closed.
이게 뭐야? 이게
The sound caused the two of them to turn around.
죽었어? 진짜? 내가
They tried to say something, but they couldn't. But they could barely nod. Ina took a step back, staggering.
내가 이러려고 한 게 아니야. 봤잖아. 내가 안 밀었어. 제가 밀어서 둘 다 뒤로 넘어갔는데
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't really her fault.
하필 끝에 서 있었던 거야. 봤지? 한도윤 봤잖아.
Ina's jaw was trembling.
오이나,
내가 범죄자가 사람들 앞에서
이나야.
Gyuk moved closer to Ina. Ina looked at Seal, who lay behind Gyuk. Her eyes blurred with the feeling of despair.
아니야. 난 아니야.
Ina quickly turned around and began to run. Dion reached out his hand but couldn't grab her. His vision blurred. He felt like the sound of his own breathing was coming from the distance.
도윤아.
He came to himself as someone grabbed his shoulder.
형, 죽었어. 세일이 죽어버렸다고. 말렸어야 했는데 더 강하게.
They looked at each other with stunned expressions. He held back his tears and raised his head.
이나, 찾으러 가야 돼.
While nodding, Gyuk suddenly opened his eyes wide.
영희 누나.
스테이지 위야.
아까 경황 없이 내려왔어.
The two went around and rushed to the stage.
없어.
어떻게 하지? 어떻게?
무대 뒤 거기밖에 없어. 가보자.
Gyuk dropped to one knee. Dion lowered himself to hold Gyuk. Gyuk looked just as terrified as Gyuk did. The tremor was more intense than previous ones, but it finally died out.
이건 아니야. 이런 건.
형, 지금이야. 가보자. 분장실 문이 잠겼어.
아내는 누구지?
누구 있어요? 이나야! 영희 누나!
No response.
나와서 얘기해. 아는 위험해.
이나야, 거기 있다 무너지면 큰일 나.
나 벌써 큰일 났어. 다 봤잖아.
She was panicking. Gi-hyuk gulped.
진정하고 이 문 좀 열어줘.
난 끝났어. 다 봤잖아. 그냥 내버려둬.
Gi-hyuk stopped punching and started ramming his head against the door.
이게 아니야. 제발.
누나, 영희 누나는? 누나도 거기 있어?
없어. 언니는 여기 없어.
As Gi-hyuk raised his head, his eyes met Diyun's.
그렇다면
혜성이 있는 데론 안 갔을 거야.
스텝 복도야. 누나 말이면 오이나도 들을 거야.
누나! 영희 누나!
없는 것 같은데?
아까 진동 때문에 안쪽이 무너졌어. 가보자.
The two slowly went in. And
아니야. 설마
they ran towards the pile of stones. He grabbed the pale wrist jutting out from the rubble. No pulse. I became choked up with emotion while holding the cold wrist. Gi-hyuk panted heavily while moaning from pain.
나야. 나 때문이야. 눈을 죽어서 내려갔기 때문에.
He curled himself up and wrapped his hands around his head. Diyun covered his face and slowly collapsed.
모르겠어. 어떻게 해야 할지 모르겠어.
도윤아,
He grabbed his shoulders and groaned painfully.
도윤아, 날 구하지 말았어야 했어. 내가 없었으면 여기까진 안 왔을 거야.
Diyun didn't have the strength to disagree. He choked up and his eyes blurred. He couldn't begin to speak.
왜 이렇게 된 거야? PD님이, 혜성이가, 누나가.
이대로 있으면 안 돼. 가자.
He was losing it. He couldn't even get himself up.
날 좀 내버려둬.
His hands dropped from his shoulders. Staggering footsteps gradually edged away. After a long struggle, he couldn't even cry anymore.
두 사람이라도 어떻게든 가자. 지금이라도. 보이나? 제발 열어! 복도가 무너졌어. 거기도 위험해. 영희 누나도.
언니가 왜?
복도 거기 있다가 무너졌어. 죽어버렸다고! 이나야 당장 나와!
Diyun knelt down before the door.
끝났어. 하늘까지 그렇게 돼버린 거는 나도 차라리
무슨 소리야? 열어! 문 열고 밖으로 나와!
There was no further response. Diyun slowly walked away from the door. His head felt like exploding. His head began to ring. He staggered towards the stage.
규혁이 형. 형, 어디야? 규혁!
Diyun looked around, trying to find Gyuk. I couldn't see straight. I wasn't sure if I was trembling in fear or the ground was shaking. Diyun unwittingly grabbed Gyuk's shoulder. Gyuk's body hung there, slowly turning. His face was messy with tears, with tear marks and saliva. Diyun did not scream. He held Gyuk's wrist along, although he knew it was too late. His wrist was still warm, but there was no pulse. Diyun carefully lifted Gyuk's body up and laid it on the floor. And collapsed next to it. Someone was laughing. It took me a while to realize it was me. I wiped the tears off my eyes. I was completely alone now. No, I could still talk to someone. Diyun absentmindedly opened Phater. He wrote a post, uploaded it. All dead. And closed his eyes.
무슨 소리지?
Was it the sound of the rescue team? Maybe they were digging the last tunnel to get in here. He looked down to find the flickering watch. It was Phater. He unwittingly opened the app. You're not making any sense. Please give more support to Diyun. A pretentious comment on Phater. What does it mean? What happened now? Please answer me. What's happening there? Do you mean everyone will die? What did you do to Ina? Just posted a comment and gone somewhere. Then what should I do? Trying to attract attention in this situation? You're completely hopeless. Why do you say they're all dead when they're still alive? Did you kill them yourself? Diyun looked aside. Gyuk was lying on his back silently.
도윤아, 날 구하지 말았어야 했어. 내가 없었으면 여기까지 안 왔을 거야.
Gyuk put all the blame on himself. I should have told him it wasn't his fault. I shouldn't have left him alone. Gyun had thrown himself to save Gi-hook, and then left him to hang himself. Gyun pulled himself up. Across the stage, Seal must be lying on the floor with his chest pierced.
도윤이 형이라도 뭐라고 말 좀.
Gyun blankly stared into the air.
도윤아, 저러다 크게 싸움 나겠어. 일단 진정시켜야.
Could I have prevented this tragedy if I had intervened earlier? I failed to brace myself. I neglected, ignored, and avoided problems. And now I'm the sole survivor once more. Dean slowly opened his watch. Sorry. So sorry. It's all my fault. What? What did you do? What did you do to Ju-young? If anything happens to her, you're gonna pay a heavy price for it. It's a bit late, but Ju-young wants to confess to his sins. What the heck is S-young doing again? If anything happens to Ina, you're a dead meat. True betrayer, lol. It's not your fault, Ju-young. Don't blame yourself. You say that when people are dying under the debris? With all of them dead, he alone is using Phater? Isn't it too obvious? With all of them dead, he alone is using Phater? Isn't it too obvious? After saying Singyung and Hissing are dead, he must have locked himself up somewhere. Gyun is not that kind of person. If he really intended to do so, he would have betrayed all of them before anyone noticed. Or ask other members to post comments? If no comments are posted by others, then all must be dead now, agree? The betrayer might have committed suicide, lol. When no one knows whether Gi-hook is dead or alive, he is posting this kind of comment. If anything happens to Gi-hook, I hope this asshole should be dead. Just ignore them. Frankly speaking, he deserved it. He betrayed his old band members and ended up like this. He's paying for what he has done so far. Justice served. Great. People are so mean. They pointed Ciel as the attacker before, and now accusing a wrong person. He said it was all his fault, lol. Other contestants say nothing. He must have killed them all or hid himself somewhere. I hope he's dead. If he ran away alone, stay and die there. If he gets out, I'll crush him myself. He left Hissing for dead. Are you happy that you'll become the winner this way? Is this why he left the band? If you alone get out of there alive, you will be the winner. Just take your own life. The show is done now. What about Ju-young? Be responsible of what you've done. Betrayer.
배신자.
Dean took off his watch and walked towards Gi-hook. He slowly loosened the tie strangling Gi-hook's neck.
형, 빌릴게.
Gi-hook was silent. Maybe he nodded. The watch on the floor kept flickering. Dean stared at the tie in his hand.
내가 살아남는 건
Even he didn't want himself to live on.
주저해서야. 내가 조금 더
More actively. Intervened and mediated a settlement. If only I had maintained my sanity and comforted those on the verge of a breakdown.
나는 살 자격도 살 자신도 없어.
Tears rolled down my cheek.
이럴 거면
Died after saving Gyuhyuk. I would have been remembered as someone better than a betrayer or a bystander. Yun hung the tie on the pillar and wrapped the other end around his neck. He looked up at the ceiling, his eyes blurry. I could no longer see the ruin. Bright lights, cheers, applause, and all the moments of glory. I was willing to do anything to bring back those memories. He was finally ready to make everyone happy.
베리드스터즈 무대에서 발생한 붕괴 사고 속보입니다. 총 7명의 생존자가 갇힌 붕괴 현장에 진입한 구조대는 6명의 사망자와 1명의 생존자를 찾아냈다고 밝혔습니다. 사망자는 스텝 신승현, 장세일, 출연자 민주영, 서혜성, 이규혁, 한도윤 총 6명. 생존자 오이나 씨는 병원으로 후송되어 치료를 받고 있습니다. 수색에 동행한 경찰은 추가 붕괴로 시신 손상이 심하고 현장 수습에도 난항이 있다고.
So there you go. That was playthrough number 1 of Buried Stars. I think this is the what I would call like the canon horror movie ending, right? Because then you have the sole female survivor that survives everything. Although there's no killer necessarily, or there is, and we just don't know about it. So, I don't think it's actually possible to get a good ending on the first playthrough. I think you're actually required to play through more than once in order to get a good ending. Like a lot of these visual novel games. I'd say that it's pretty well constructed. All the voice acting is really, really well done. The art's really good. The music's, not bad, although nothing really stands out about it. I think it'd be interesting to play through again and be more selfish about my sanity. I didn't think I was being that bad with my sanity, but apparently it needs to be much, much higher in order to get through the last part of the game. So I had to be much more selfish the next time I play. End of exercise part. Show will go on. Normal end. So the show ended. You reached the first ending. You can now start a new game to reveal other possibilities. Okay, so that makes sense. Every modern visual novel pretty much does this. Keep the insanity intact and build rapport with the others. A new path might lead you to the truth or even more mysteries. Communication leads you to the truth, but above anything else, survival is the most important thing. So here you go. That was Buried Stars. That's our first playthrough. I think all of us are interested in another playthrough, right? Where we make some different choices and concentrate a little bit more on the insanity. I think it's interesting enough to see through to the end, like I have done with a lot of the bigger name visual novels that I've done here on the channel. I hope everybody enjoyed watching. I know I don't tend to read perfectly. I tend to read as fast as I can, and sometimes the words just can't catch up with me. But I'd like to play through again with some different choices, and now that we have other options that are opened up, it'll be interesting to see ultimately who SC Young is. it seems like everybody was innocent. I think that sort of makes sense with the way the game is structured. You know, even Seal might be interested, might be innocent as well. He's just a stalker, not necessarily a killer. And I do like Dune. I'm glad Ina made it. She's my favorite character, even more than the main character. And I hope that we can at least get at least the characters that we like. You know, if Seal and Hyosung die, I'm not sure if that matters to me that much. But everybody else lives. I think I'm fine with that. Of course, that's not the ideal situation. We probably want everybody to live, and we want to find out who the true betrayer is, right? So, yeah, we'll play more tomorrow. We'll start a new route with the new game plus, and hopefully we'll get different conclusions by the time we reach the end. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching. I will see you at the next stream.